BCE. Hello, everyone. I'm Chester44, and welcome to Heaven's Vault. Before I start, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for all the suggestions you gave. I know this isn't one of them. This is the one I kind of muttered to myself about possibly doing. I kind of didn't really have time, have as much time to check out all the possibilities as I wanted. And when I tried a brief look at Fallout 1, there was a little trouble with how it looked, but I'll have to look into things more as I get to the end of this. I will make use of at least some of your ideas. Probably. I'll get back to it later. Right now, I'm gonna do this one, which is enjoyable and interesting, and I kinda like, and why not? I'll be able to get some reading out. I think I can get it to work. The only real difficulty is, actually, what was the difficulty? I don't think there was one. Anyway, this game didn't come out too long ago, but it's an interesting one. The best way to explain it is an archaeology game. Not Lara Croft or Indiana Jones archaeology, but, well, you'll see. And it's got some very nice music here, too, I can tell. Alright, let's give this a start. Down in the corner there.
Stories don't have tidy beginnings. The past is always present. But there has to be a spark. Something that brings the past to light.
Please, climb carefully. You worry too much. I mean, what am I going to do? Fall? Take a moment to rest before you walk, mistress, please. There's going to be a lot of walking in this game, I can tell you right now. But alright, take a moment to rest. Let the bar to fill up again. No, I'm okay. Bricked up opening. There is something here. To keep people out, do you think? Or to keep something in? There's something written here. Ancient script. This must have been cut in when the mortar was still wet, but I think I can read it. Heaven's Vault. But that will all possibly happen later. The University of Iox, some weeks earlier.
My story begins on Iox. That was where I met the robot.
Mistress Aliyah. Mistress Aliyah Eliasar. Elasra, I have been waiting for you. I have been asked to escort you to Professor Mayari. She is very anxious for your arrival. And who are you? I am a robot, mistress, as is apparent. This way. Do you have a name, robot? Is that intended to be a joke, mistress? No. Robots do not have names. We are, as I understand it, interchangeable. I've known a few robots. They're all a little different. How kind of you to say so, mistress. So why has she sent you? Did you do something wrong? That seems unlikely. My ethical core protects me from serious error. This way. You should know that the professor's urgency was remarkable. Maybe we should keep her waiting. Don't want her making a habit of impatience. I cannot recommend that course, mistress. Have I got a promotion? With respect, mistress, I think that is most unlikely. Why is Miyari's room so far from everything? I imagine she enjoys her view of the tree, mistress. I am sure it is most pleasing to her. Those are the main ways of interaction, as you can see. Choosing things that we're looking at in order to comment on them, or interact with them, and at the bottom of the screen, if you noticed, possible replies, or questions, like this. What is your ethical core anyway? What good is it? It is what stops me from pushing humans off of cliffs, mistress. Is that something you want to do? It was simply an example, mistress. Were it to be convenient for me to do so, my core would prevent me. Look at her. She looks like a tiger in a cage. A most curious analogy, mistress. You understand I will be required to report it. Required to? Of course. Professor Mayari is my primary user, mistress. Nevertheless, I will try to sugarcoat your opinion. You'd do that for me? Of course. I have been tasked with your well-being. Shall we proceed? The tree of knowledge, or so they call it. Each branch grows more branches. Except for the ones that die, fall off, and are forgotten, which is where we come in, I suppose. I went outside the university grounds once exploring. This is a very beautiful moon. You can tell it was once lush, fertile. There must have been huge forests, lakes, rivers. They're all but dry now. You've not been outside? No. Well, that was simple. Alright, let's, I think that's enough there. Oh, wait.
I was 15 when Mayari rescued me from the slums of Elbereth and brought me here. I'd never seen such luxury or such kindness.
What do you think of the sculpture? It has a pleasing balance to it. Worth the time it took to make, do you think? When there are people on Elbereth who don't eat? Are your own exploits worth the time they take, mistress? Should we not be making history rather than reviewing it? If you don't know history, you can't understand people. You can starve them or oppress them, but you won't understand them. Yes, looking into the past is, I believe, an important theme of this game. In fact, so much so that, ignoring that, you can actually look through a timeline of everything in the past for thousands of years, all the way up to more recent, where you can actually, well, talk about things that happened more recently, and even zoom in and see more and more details on things. Not only the stuff that we know, but also a timeline of what's actually happening. Zooming all the way to hours. And minutes. Seriously, I started 10 minutes ago. There we go. Anyway, let's continue. And how reliable is your core? It is the core of my being, mistress. If it goes, I go. Good to know. Into the office.
I still don't know why she did it.
Professor Mayari? Aliyah, there you are. Come in. I came as soon as I got your message. You don't need to flatter me, Aliyah. Nonetheless, I'm glad you came. I know your work is important to you. My work is important to everyone, Professor. Well, today it's important to me. You're our expert on history. Tell me what you make of this. Well, it's a brooch. Yes, Aliyah, but I didn't summon you halfway across the nebula to tell me that. Well, it's certainly old, Empire period. The device is the eagle and the sun. One of the scholars sent this brooch to me, Janiki Renba. Did you know him? Maybe. I'm not sure. Look at the detail. I see them. Ancient markings. I know they're a hobby of yours, Aliyah, but can you read them? I've never seen either of these groupings before, but the two words have some common elements, so they must have related meanings. Well, and here is the main form of gameplay in this, aside from walking around and interacting with things. Figuring out what things say, and translating. Kind of like translating old hieroglyphics or ancient texts. Over time, you'll have to figure out what things mean through associations, and it is interesting being able to learn and figure out the language. For now, this one can be either friend or holy, and this one emperor or beloved. Our only hint is that they're probably related. Friend, emperor, friend, beloved, holy emperor, holy beloved. Holy emperor would make some sense. At least I think so. We can give that a try, see if that's right. Holy emperor, but I'm only guessing. I don't know if that helps at all. Renbo wasn't the kind to send me trinkets. There's some significance to this brooch, but I don't know what. Janiki told me he'd found something. That was over a month ago. Janiki isn't like you. He's an Ioxian, through and through. You've tried contacting him? I can't. Wherever he is, he's on his own. Not everyone is required to travel with a robot. I can't go hunting the nebula for missing people, Aliyah. But you can. Something persuaded him to go to Mayersi, of all places. Maybe you can find out what it was. I'll see what I can dig up. A cruel choice of words, Aliyah. Come back when you've found him, Aliyah. And Aliyah, you're taking that robot with you. Thank you, Professor. I long to see the nebula. Oh, and before you go, you should look in on Huang. He was eager to see you. Eager? Why? Aliyah, really, I couldn't possibly imagine. I know he's rather beneath you, but you could at least say good faith to him. For the benefit of our little community. I'll go and find him. He's down there by the tree. You must have walked straight past him on your way in. Good hunting, my dear. Well, okay then. We can ask another question. Would you recognize Renba if we saw him? Did you meet him? I believe he activated me, mistress, after I was uncovered. I suspect that is why Professor Miyari assigned me to you. Alright then. It is a very interesting art style, I do have to admit. The 3D is beautiful, and the fact that all the figures are 2D is also interesting. Plus the fact that feet seem to disappear when we walk. And I can just say, Mistress Aaliyah, it is wonderful to be accompanying you. If you're going to be following me around, I'll have to give you a name. I'm calling you Six. Six, mistress? I shall remember that. I wonder if I got Mayari's translation correct. I think I did. The shape shows this is an Empire piece. Which means Emperor is correct. The Emperors believed themselves to be gods, so it makes sense that the words would be almost the same. So holy is correct. But it still doesn't tell me, where did this thing come from? So you were really dug out of a wall on Iox. I believed I was removed from a wall. The exact events are hazy. Yes, we can go immediately to the time. Six awakes on Iox. The robots on Iox were buried in the walls. Some can still be heard. It was sometime between 3.25 years ago and a quarter of a year ago. But as interesting as this is, I'm not going to go through everything on this. There's a lot of information and a lot of things that we get that don't really matter right now. Plus, there's a lot of information on the things that are here. We'll leave it be for now. Six? How long were you buried here? I have no idea, mistress. I do not remember it. And you don't know why you were buried? No, mistress. I can only assume I was not needed. Perhaps robots were not trusted. Perhaps, mistress. Though I have observed robots to be both more predictable and more kind than most humans. I can't think why they keep giving me robots. Every time I break or lose one, they give me another. They must take my safety very seriously. The university cares for your well-being, mistress. Perhaps. Let us move on. There's Huang. What's he doing, Six? I believe he is reading. But why is he doing it out here? Perhaps the level of light is preferable, mistress? Well, maybe he knows something about Renba. Who knows? Aaliyah! I didn't know you were back on Iox. How are you, Huang? Oh, well enough, well enough. I've been reading all day. I just came outside to rest my eyes, and there you were. What were you reading? The Annals, again. Did you know Mazwai claims the Holy Empire was founded by three wolves racing to heaven? Each one tore the throat of the other, and as the three fell to earth... Are you really interested? Absolutely. All right. Most people glaze over.
He began to talk with such passion that his eyes glittered. and he seemed to grow at least an inch taller.
Aaliyah? Yes? You weren't listening. Never mind. I'll walk you to the dock. I'm sorry. I'm distracted. Is something the matter? Juan, do you know Janaki Renba? But I know Renba, of course. Well, a little. Why? What did he teach? He's a roboticist. One of the best. One of the few. Did you say did? Has something happened to Janaki? I don't know, Huang. I'm sure it's nothing bad. Oh my. Before you go, it hardly seems important now, but I found a line of ancient in the Annals of Mazwai I thought you might like. If you have time, that is. Well, always. Here, see what you think. Empress... It looks like some other things. I know one of these words. I'll have to guess the other two. Empress, buried or banished. Robots, circuits, rebels, labors. Well, I'm pretty sure it's not circuits, since it's this. Empress, buried... robots? That actually kind of makes sense. Considering what was just said about how the robot here was buried. It would be that or banished rebels. But buried robots kind of makes sense. Empress buried robots, sure. Empress buried robots. I think that's correct. But I thought there weren't any robots in the Empire. This suggests otherwise. I'd best not keep you. I hope you find him. Shall we proceed to your ship now? Have you sailed before, Six? I have no idea, mistress. But I am keen to find out. And so we left the hollowed walls of the university. And then we can continue from there. So, let us move on. Aboard the Nightingale. My ship is my refuge. It's the only place that's truly mine. The journey to Maersi should be quick, mistress. Nice place, is it? I do not believe so, mistress. I believe it is a farmyard. Why does a roboticist go to a farm? To study the competition, perhaps. Or perhaps there are robots buried on Maersi. Are there robots buried on Maersi? Most likely not. It is a moon of pigs and rice, mistress. Part of the Iox Protectorate, of course. Maersi it is, then. It should be a quiet spot, at least. I will prepare the ropes. Where to next? Well, we're going to go to Maersi. Plot the course here. Oh. I missed what was said. Oh. Professor Mayari wants me to find a friend. I should at least try before I go back empty-handed. There's a Renaki up here. Renaki is a market moon far outside the reach of Iox. I've never been there. Elbereth is my home. It's where I moor up when I want to sleep well. But not today. There's quite a lot of paths here. Rivers? Maersi is a tiny rural moon. It's where Janaki told Professor Mayari he was going before he disappeared. Why does a roboticist want to visit a rice farm? Well, here is where we'll go. Plot the course, and exit. And yes, they're rivers, but not the kind you think. Ioxian space, sailing to Miercy on the Verdant Pass.
My Ari wanted us to sail to Miercy. It was a short sail through fast waters.
I did say it's beautiful. We will need to turn right momentarily, mistress. Yeah, this is rivers in space, of all things. I see the force of the river is fastest in the middle, mistress. On the surface it appears the same, but there are deeper currents below. It's very peaceful, this game, at times. Sailing through the rivers here. How there are rivers in space, I don't know. This must be like a nebula. In fact, they did mention a nebula, so it's a nebula with large chunks of rock all over. This is your ship, mistress. What do you think? She is very beautiful, mistress. But I cannot help wondering how you came by her. That's Miercy. You can see the greenery from here. I feel like we were interrupted in the middle of conversation, which can happen there. Miercy, a farming moon. If Renba's here, I need to find him. And if he's not, I need to work out where he went.
We stepped off the ship and into the mud. Mud covered the ground and rock. And everywhere I looked, things were growing from the mud. And some of those things had legs.
Look at this place. Breathe the air. I cannot breathe, mistress. But rest assured, I am most happy for you all the same. Well then, let's see where Renba's got to. If we're really lucky, he'll have found an old pot. Indeed. And I'll ask that question in the next episode, because this one's gone on about long enough, and this seems a decent place to pause. This will be a very interesting game. Plenty of reading, plenty of talking, plenty of walking. One of the weaknesses. But the figuring out of the language is always an enjoyment. Yes, I've played this before, I know. But still. You can join me. Make your comments on what you think about the story and everything, and what you think of the words. See if you can figure out the language with me. It's been a bit since I've played it, so I don't necessarily remember everything of it, but I may remember a few things. Still, figuring it all out as I go, that's a delight. Anyway, checking out Miercy will be in the next episode. Till then, I am Chester44. That is, I already forgot her name, and 6. This has been a Let's Play of Heaven's Vault, and I shall see you all next time.